Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome to the Garden Nerd. Today is September 10th, 2017, and welcome to the Garden Tour for September. Alright, let's get going. Alright, starting here with the Grape Trellis. They have been picked pretty well. I've made some jelly. Be on the lookout for the grape jelly video. I'm guessing that's probably what I'm going to title it. I have no idea. But anyway, good portion of the fruits picked. There's still some here and there for me to grab and munch on. So, yay! Over here in the Cinderblock Bed, the kale's going pretty strong. I did harvest some before and have some nice kale chips with dinner. My family seems to like the kale chips, so that's a nice thing there. The Nasturtium's doing pretty well over here. It's chugging along. Then in the back, the chives are doing good. They're just being established over there. Then over here, I threw some turnips and some radishes down, trying to get like a fall crop of those guys there. They've come up, so hopefully I'll get something from over here. Over here in the rustic raised bed, the black beans I harvested over the course of the last couple of weeks, drying them out and storing them. Show you like my harvest in like a later video. Over here is some butternut squashes. There's some here, and this guy's chugging along, so it's doing pretty good. More of the kale, which I've been again harvesting on a little bit more, and the collard greens, which I've not really harvested a lot of, but they're doing pretty good. They're getting a little moth damage, but there's still some nice giant leaves and whatnot, so I'm going to probably end up cooking them down or dehydrating them or something, because this bed's going to have to go over to cover crop at some point in the near future. Over here in the lasagna bed, it's kind of a jungle over here. The cabbage that got noshed on by a rabbit or something has popped back up and is forming a nice head. The zucchini plant over here is looking kind of done. I did get a couple nice sized zucchinis from this guy, so that's good. In the back, the second crop of beets, or my later crop of beets I should say, is doing pretty good there. I'm getting a good, mixture of sizes over there. I'm going to let these guys go since I still have a lot of beets already that still need to be harvested in other spots, but I'm only harvesting them when I need them or if I'm going to can them. Then more kale here, and then we have, I believe these are the black cherry tomatoes here in the middle, and they look like I might actually get some black cherry tomatoes, so that's pretty exciting. Then the zinnias are just kind of sprawling, and the sunflowers just kind of did a face dive into the neighboring bed. But one thing I want to show you is the tomato plant that I put over here is just kind of sprawling around. This one I just kind of let do what it wants to do, but it's kind of all over the place. Kind of like a jungly mess over here. So I'm just kind of like letting this go. I'm getting some good tomatoes from off here that are not touched by the fungal disease that the other tomatoes have. So that's kind of cool. Over here in the other concrete bed, I have the basil here, which is doing pretty good. I have to harvest and get some pesto going on. I seeded over here where the lettuce was some radishes, which might be coming up soon. And over there some more lettuce and the giant zucchini plants that sprawled out. I left one main plant and I took out the other two just because I kind of wanted to free up some space, and I was getting a little too many zucchinis, but I'm letting this guy go for a while, get a couple more zucchinis before the end of this plant's life. Alright, over here, the tomato bed, there's a fungal disease. I'll have to look that up because someone kindly commented down in the description in one of my videos, and that seems to be the culprit for all the blight type things. It's not blight, but it's something on the tomatoes. It just makes me sad because it looked like it was going to be a nice, beautiful, big crop of tomatoes, and they're all kind of, fungal diseased. So it's sad. But the beets down over here are chugging along since they don't get a lot of sun. They're kind of small and like shrimpy, but some more beets. I apparently just love beets so much that I had to plant them everywhere. Alright, over here in the weaved bed, the cucumbers are just kind of more or less done, which is fine. I did get some cucumbers for eating and making cucumber water and whatnot and pickling. I don't know, like these guys just kind of started getting diseased and died, but it is what it is. So I'm going to probably clear this up in the near future. I have a nice cabbage here. Looks like it's ready to pick. I'll have to, figure out what to do with that. And I got turnips down the middle that I planted, so these guys hopefully will come up, and I'll have a nice extra crop of turnips for like a fall, wintry type harvest. And then the parsnips, now that there's less competition of light, are actually growing the whole, like, 2 or 3 of them there. So at least I'll get a couple of parsnips, since the rest of the spot there didn't seem to germinate. So you win some, you lose some. And then the kale over here is chugging along as well. Now over here in this area, it's kind of a jungle. We have the multi-head sunflower, which is pretty cool. The turnips that I planted early in the season are getting nice and fat over there, so I'll have plenty of those. The zinnias are just kind of sprawling everywhere. And the nasturtium has kind of just taken over in the corner there. And I'm just kind of letting it do its thing. I'm going to try to save some nasturtium seeds and for pods and things, although I think they self-sow as well, I've been, told. But the bees seem to be liking them. They're pretty, and I know they're edible. I'm just not a particular fan of the flavor. So, I mean, they're a very cool plant to have, and they look nice, and they just kind of sprawl everywhere. But yeah, so, I mean, it's doing pretty cool over here. Just lots of flowers and stuff. The pollinators love them, keeping everything going. Then over here in the square, like I said, there's some turnips. And then the basil and parsley is doing pretty well on the side here. So I'll have some dried herbs and whatnot for that. So that's pretty exciting. Over here in the front of the garden here, you can see the sorghum doing very well. I'm going to get probably a good amount of crop there. Probably save a majority of it, I think, for cover crop. And then maybe try grinding it down and making it into, using it as a grain. And seeing if that's any good, if I like the taste. If anything, it's a good cover crop, good fodder for compost. Over here, another butternut squash, kind of doing its thing. So I'm going to get some more butternut squash, which is fun. Over here, up in this longer bed over here, the Swiss chard is chugging along. I've been kind of munching a little bit off of that. There's that cabbage from last time. It's nice and full. I'm going to have to do a nice big harvest and figure out how to store and make things. The squashes over here, the butternut squash and whatnot, is chugging along as well. Got some nice butternut squash up there, which are looking pretty ready to harvest as well. So that's kind of excited, get a nice big crop. And then we have the mystery big long ones, which I'm going to harvest soon as well, because, they're doing pretty big in size and looks like they're kind of turning yellow. So I think if you can see that guy, and no, not really, not from this angle. Alright, you can kind of see this guy in here. He's pretty long and whatnot, so I think they're ready to harvest because they're turning yellow. So I do believe it is a mixture, half-breed type thing. So when I cook it and taste it, I'll let you guys know what it kind of was. Alright, yeah, so you can see a nice better shot here of the random one. I'm assuming it's like a butternut mix of something. So I'm thinking it's kind of more or less ready to harvest. So I'm going to be harvesting these guys. So that's pretty exciting. Over here in the raised bed that I added in here, I put black-eyed Susans in here, I believe. Then there's the plant that my neighbor gave me, and then I threw some cover crop over here. Just because I couldn't think of what else to put over there at this particular time. So, mixture of the rye and some peas, just so this way there's something there, kind of feed the soil and help bulk it up. The bathtub here has the mixture of the forget-me-nots, some more black-eyed Susans thrown in here as well. So, again, it's looking pretty nice, pretty full. So, yay. Alright, along the center here, I harvested the black beans and dried them out for storage. I did some chopping and dropping, just kind of throwing the husks and the leaves and the remnants of the plants kind of just back on to kind of do a mulch. The beets that were planted initially and in between the black beans, now getting more sun, are kind of getting the sun they need and bulking up nicely. The okra is doing pretty good. considering a first year growing it. I've gotten a couple nice okras off these guys. You can see one like right here. That's a good sized okra. So I'll be harvesting that and, you know, using it for stews and other things. So they're, you know, they're chugging along, doing pretty cool. Then the 1,500-year-old cave beans are doing pretty amazing now that I've trellised this guy up. You can see that it's going all over there. There's a ton of pods. So my understanding, I did a little bit of research on them. So basically you use them as dried beans. So I'm going to let these guys just keep going until I see that they're all dried out and then harvest them. And once they're mature, I'm going to save some for planting next year, and the others I'm going to eat. There's some cool, interesting recipes that I found online. You know, just kind of use them as just dried beans, but you can see just a lot of growth on these guys. So they're doing amazingly well over here. Alright, now along the back here, I have the basil that I planted directly seeding, which is going to be harvested and made into some pesto. You know, just gonna take off some of the bad leaves and then hope some regrowth will happen and I'll get some more. The hot Portugal peppers are doing awesome. I did a harvest before. I'm gonna be harvesting more again today. I bought a dehydrator to especially dry them out, make them into kind of a crushed red pepper spice. Because these guys are really, really hot, I found. And when I dried them out, and you just kind of add, like, you know, a couple pinches to something, and it adds a nice flavor and some heat to it. Now, ducking under the beans, there's more of the hot peppers, some beets still mixed in here. The big Jim peppers haven't really seemed to ripen as well. I mean, I do have quite a lot of fruit on here, so I'm trying to let them ripen so I can have some more hot peppers. Again, I'm going to either dry them or just kind of cook and store them and whatnot. But yeah, so that's the back main part of the garden. So it's going pretty well over here. Now over here along the flower bed into the back jammer garden, it's kind of hard to tell where it starts and ends, mainly because of the pumpkin kind of growing in and over the sidewalk here, but luckily I don't have to use that except for more in the winter. The sunflowers are doing pretty good, okay-wise. A good half of them are still standing up. Like another half have kind of blown over from the wind. So hopefully these guys will do good, and I'll save some more of these seeds. Just because, you know, I like saving sunflower seeds. You can also eat them and whatnot. And you also need to weed this area here, because a lot of the flowers have kind of just drooped over and there's weeds popping up in there. But yeah, over here in the back jammer garden, the pumpkin, which was planted over there, just trundling along here, I got two really nice pumpkins going. So hopefully these guys will be ready for the fall, winter, Halloween time, so I can use them as decorations and then cook them into like pies and soups and things. Interestingly enough, the one cherry tomato that was there has just kind of sprawled out and through, so I have to carefully walk through here, not crushing any of the fruit, so I can get to some of the ripe ones and get some actual cherry tomatoes this year. You know, just due to that fungal thing, I haven't really had a lot of tomatoes that are, you know, nice looking and pretty. So, you know, it's going somewhere. Alright, coming from this side, the Nasturtium, again, is just doing kind of its thing, just going crazy. The Shasta Daisies are just kind of been done for a while, just kind of cut them back so they can save up and rebloom next year. The kale over here, which I harvested pretty harshly, popped back up and is doing well. There's some lettuces, some radishes, and I think some beets that I sprinkled in over here. Turnips as well. So this entire area is going kind of crazy. The tomato, again, has kind of taken over. I did plant some bush bean green beans in here, so if they are done and harvestable by the end of the season, great. If not, just fix some nitrogen. The beets are still here. again, I just harvest the ones that I need. So they're there, just kind of in there. So again, I'll have a ton of beets. I think I can probably go easier on beets next year. They're just kind of fun to grow, and I do like my beets. The watermelon, unfortunately, it didn't survive and didn't really do anything. So unfortunately, I didn't get any watermelon. I had a feeling that was going to happen because I haven't had a lot of luck with watermelon before. I think I just need to probably stick it in the middle where it gets all the sun. And then over here, we have more butternut squashes. So, not the best area to put them, but they get kind of trundle up here. I probably needed to give them a little bit more TLC to get them up higher. But got some couple of fruits, so I will say that's better than nothing. Over here in the trial area, the big gym peppers are, again, just doing their thing. I'm trying to let them, you know, get as big as they can. They kind of fell over because I didn't really stake these guys up, unfortunately. And they're not doing the best over here, probably due to there's not a lot of light or something. I'm not sure. But, you know, you can tell by the growth that the no-dig area is, like, for the peppers wise, is a little bit more bushier than this one. I'm gonna try to record the harvest and see how they do. The chard, on the other hand here, there's two chard plants right there, the yellow and the red. And that one's actually doing better than the no-dug one. Don't really know why. And they're like right next to each other, so they're probably fighting, you know, for nutrients. Up here, this cabbage actually looks like it got noshed on by a critter. So that's unfortunate, but you can see that it's a bit bigger than its neighbor in the dug bed. So, you know, this kind of thing happens from time to time. You know, you get some critters that come up and, you know, munch on your things. You know, you can only do so much. But you can see, just by size, that, you know, the left side, the undug one, is better for the cabbage, but the chard, for whatever reason, is just chugging along better on this side here. Alright, up here in the container garden, the pickling cucumbers just didn't do too well here. I just assuming that it was the cold or something. I did get a couple of them, but, you know, not a lot. The trellising idea kind of did work. It did do kind of what I wanted it to do. But the tomato plant there is doing a lot good. I did dry quite a bit of mint from this guy, so I kind of harvested it back pretty good. And now it's kind of on its like second or third growth. The peppers over here are doing fairly well as well. The Cabernet peppers are doing okay. Gotten a couple off of those. And then the big gym peppers are very bushy over here. And they have some fruit set, but not a lot. Alright, over here romaine lettuce is chugging along. It's been shaded by the peppers next door. So they're doing okay. Not like big huge heads. The kale, which I keep talking about taking out, I keep harvesting off of, but it's looking kind of sad and I've been kind of lazy, so I've just kind of let it be there. Then over here is the black cherry tomatoes that I kind of just threw in here, and they're just kind of wiggling around. I might get something, hopefully, from these guys. If not, whatever. There is like a turnip or two just kind of sprinkled in there, so, you know, that's going pretty well. Alrighty, folks, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share, and all that fun stuff. You know, check out my Facebook page to, you know, get some infrequent updates, and some extra kind of pictures and stuff of, you know, the garden when I actually remember to get to it. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye!